Recently, the Miss America pageant happened, and usually the contestants will make news because some of their answers weren't necessarily too bright. Let's keep it real. But this time around, a lot of the questions were extremely political, and a lot of the answers were thoughtful and deserve some credit. So let's start off with Margana Wood. She's actually Miss Texas. And she was asked about Donald Trump's reaction to the hate crimes in Charlottesville, right? And of course, he got criticism for it. And considering she's from Texas, I was curious to see what her reaction to that question would be. And here's what she had to say. I think that the white supremacist issue, it was very obvious that it was a terrorist attack. And I think that President Donald Trump should have made a statement earlier addressing the fact and making sure all Americans feel safe in this country. That is the #1 issue right now.
Great answer.
That is a good answer, absolutely. So apparently she's facing some backlash. I don't know, like, I haven't seen any public figure, criticize her for it. I'm sure people on Twitter or something like that have criticized her, but that was a good answer, yeah.
Yeah, of course people online criticize her because those people are the ones that support the alt-right and think that white supremacy is awesome. So, especially because she's from Texas, and she's white, they probably feel like even more betrayed. Wait, why aren't you for white people only? Well, she's not, so sad day for you. Sorry that you got triggered by that.
So let's go to Miss New Jersey. She was asked about the Confederate statues. When asked about whether Confederate statues should be removed or stay in place, Miss New Jersey said they should be relocated into museums. So let me give you her exact answer. We are truly defined by our country's history, and I don't think it's something that we need to forget. We need to always remember it and honor our history of America because it truly makes us who we are as Americans. So they should be moved to museums, which I think she was trying to play both sides a little bit in that answer, but yeah. I ultimately agree with her conclusion. Yeah, you take these Confederate statues away from public lands like state houses and courthouses and things like that, and you put them in their proper context. So if you want to remember American history, let's remember American history in its proper context. Either put it in a Confederate cemetery or a museum that has something to do with American history where you can actually describe and explain, who these figures were and what they did.
Yeah, so she gave a nuanced answer, and I think she is somewhat playing both sides, but it's okay. Look, they're not politicians. I disagree with the first part of her answer. We don't have to honor those Americans because they weren't Americans. They were Confederates, and they betrayed America and committed treason. So I don't have to honor them at all. But I agree with her that they should be in a museum because they are part of history.
Absolutely. And then finally, I want to go to Miss North Dakota. Her name is Kara Mund, and she was asked about Donald Trump's decision to pull out of the Paris Climate Agreement. These are like super political questions. I'm actually surprised and also delighted that they talked about some important stuff. Here's what Kara Mudd had to say. I do believe it's a bad decision to pull out of the Paris Climate Agreement. Once we reject that, we take ourselves out of the negotiation table, and that's something that we really need to keep in mind. There is evidence that climate change is existing, so whether you believe it or not, we need to be at that table, and I think it's just a bad decision on behalf of the United States.
That's also kind of a sophisticated answer,
yeah.
Right? It's not to say like, and maybe they trained for this, but if they did, great job.
Of course they trained for it.
No, yeah. Meaning like, were they going to get this level of political questions and to be able to play off both sides? Because she didn't say that climate change is absolutely real, and then we shouldn't have pulled out of Paris on those grounds. She's saying, well, we should be at the negotiating table.
No, she did say it's real. She said there is evidence that climate change is existing.
No, I hear you. It's just still, it's not like a super liberal answer. It's kind of saying like, well, shouldn't we be at the negotiating table anyway, either way? So, well, anyway, bless their hearts. Interesting, sophisticated answers, ones I don't all agree with, even if they calculated to get both sides. I think they calculated fairly well.
They did, yeah. Absolutely. I'm totally fine with their answers. And again, I like the fact that they're focusing on questions that matter. I mean, in the past they have as well, right?
Yeah.
Remember the Iraq War question that was asked? years ago. I think that was like my first year or second year at TYT.
Was that Miss Teen South Carolina?
Yes.
Somebody who had like the worst answer ever. Go back and find that clip of ours here. In fact, we'll put a link in the description box for you because that was hilarious. Okay, last thing is, so they're Miss America, not connected to Trump. Trump used to own Miss Universe, but nonetheless, I'm happy that these pageants are finally getting their, some smart contestants who are giving good answers. Because as someone formerly involved in the process, being Mr. Jamaica,
you were never involved in the process.
I went to Puerto Rico to the Miss Universe contest.
That doesn't mean you were involved in the process. You're so unbearable. How do you manage to make every story about you?
My girlfriend was Miss Jamaica. I'm obviously Mr. Jamaica, and so I'm proud to see that these women are doing great and are representing their states well in this case.
Okay, great.
Like as we represented Jamaica back in the day.
Okay, as we represented Jamaica. Unbearable.
Watch the Young Turks commercial-free. Download it or stream it. Watch it any way you like at tytnetwork.com/join.